time, right when Macbeth is about to say something sensible, is about to think something positive, Lady Macbeth comes in. Hello and welcome back to Nibblepop. Today we will be looking at the 7th scene of the first act, and as I have already told you, this is going to be a very important scene, especially in the context of the dramatic movements, in the context of the dramatic situation. So stay with me till the end of this lecture, and if you have not yet subscribed, do so immediately. This scene is set again in the castle of Macbeth. We have seen that Duncan had decided to come to Macbeth's castle to have dinner with him and his wife. The whole event is managed by Lady Macbeth because Macbeth clearly is very, very disturbed by the thought that he might have to kill the king to become the next king of Scotland. In this scene, we will see that Macbeth, he is so uncomfortable with this whole idea that he cannot stay with the king for a very long time during the dinner, and he decides to come out and speak to himself. So this scene starts with a soliloquy by Macbeth, where we will get some insight into what is going on in his mind at this very crucial juncture of the play. Hautboys and torches, this word Hautboys is pronounced as hautboys, and it means a kind of musical instrument, a trumpet-like instrument which is played before any royal figure or any royalty enters the stage. We see a set of servants with dishes and service going through the stage. So it shows a busy scene where people are excited about the king, his ongoing dinner. Macbeth enters the stage and he's all alone at present and is thinking, if it were done when it is done, then it were done quickly. So if I have to do something, I think I should do it rather quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence. Now when you kill somebody, assassinate means you're killing a public figure. You don't assassinate a common man. You assassinate a king, a minister, a president. So if a murder is committed where a public figure is involved, then there are consequences more grave, more serious than maybe an ordinary murder. So Macbeth is bothered about the consequences, the results, the repercussions of this assassination which he is planning to do, and catch with his surcease success. So if this murder could trammel up, means cover up the consequences, if his surcease, means his death, Duncan's death, could solve all problems, but this blow might be the be all and the end all here. If I knew that if I killed Duncan, all worries would be gone, then it would have been easier for me. So this is what Macbeth is saying. But this blow might be the be all and the end all here, but here upon this bank and shoal of time, he's talking about this lifetime, he's talking about this world, we jump the life to come. Then we could just take any decision if the results could be somehow trammeled up, covered up by the actions. But the results, the consequences, the reactions, those are the things that are bothering our Macbeth here. But in these cases, we still have judgment here. That we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. Now when he is going to kill the king, what is he going to do? He's actually going to let people believe that kings can be killed. Now, why I'm saying this is because kings were supposed to be or believed to be representatives of gods, or rather representative of the god on earth. And when a king is anointed with the holy oil of coronation, at that moment, the king transforms from a human being to a divine figure. Okay. So, killing a king, regicide, is not equivalent to any other murder or assassination even. Therefore, once Macbeth kills a king and gets away with it, people will understand that a king might be murdered, that a king is after all an ordinary human being, and people can get away even after killing a king. So this instruction, when it is learnt by the other people, then that might backfire when Macbeth will become the king. So now that the people know that the king is a vulnerable figure, that you can bring down a king, that will endanger Macbeth's reign, Macbeth's rule. This is what is bothering Macbeth. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poison chalice to our own lips. So by committing this heinous crime, he is offering a poisoned cup which he might have to swallow himself. He is here in double trust. Very important lines. Duncan is here not just as a king, but also as a relative, as a guest. So double trust here means the bond between the king and his subject and the bond between the guest and the host. And he explains what he means by double trust here. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. So because Macbeth is the subject of the king and his relative as well, he should not endanger the life of the king. Then, as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. I am supposed to guard him against murderers, guard him against danger. I'm not supposed to be the danger myself. So these are the two things that is bothering him. Additionally, he says, besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek. We have seen that Duncan is such a sweet person and a gracious king. He has been so trusting with his subjects, with his kinsmen, that it is really bothering Macbeth right now. So meek hath been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. That if I kill him, it will be against divinity, because his virtues are like angels. And pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubims horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. He is not sure whether this is the right thing to do, because he knows that he has no reason to kill the king. He has no feelings personal against the king. And he knows that there are 1,000 arguments against killing the king. And he says, I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent. I don't have anything to provoke me, to persuade me to do this thing. but only vaulting ambition. The only thing that makes him decide to do this is his ambition. So this is where we realize that there is this flaw in him, which one might call hubris, one might call tragic flaw, which will make him choose the wrong things in life. And that error in judgment, that error is called hamartia. So you see, hubris and hamartia are so intimately connected. And we will also see where he is making the mistake. Vaulting ambition which overleaps itself and falls on the other. We will see that every time when Macbeth is about to say something sensible, is about to think something positive, Lady Macbeth comes in. And his mind is brought back or focused back to the murder of the king. Lady Macbeth enters. Macbeth inquires, "How now? What news?" He has almost supped, so he has almost finished his dinner. "Why have you left the chamber?" So we see that Macbeth was not ready to stay with the king through the whole supper time. "Hath he asked for me?" "Know you not he has?" Lady Macbeth knows that Macbeth is not capable of hiding his emotions, but she knows that his presence is required. Otherwise, things will get even more suspicious. Then Macbeth says something very important. "We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honoured me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people. So everybody is honouring me right now. I have got a lot of respect from everybody, which would be worn now in their newest gloss. Not cast aside so soon. So I'm not going to compromise on this honour. I am a respected figure, and now I've gained that respect by the recent developments. I don't want to lose this." So his inner voice, his conscience is speaking now. And then let's see what Lady Macbeth says. "Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Had it slept since? So when you spoke to me about killing the king, at that time, what, your conscience was not in its right sense? Now you have come to your right sense, and you are so scared to look at what you have done before this? Had it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale, and at what it did so freely? From this time, such I account thy love. Because you are a person who is not consistent, you have no ethics, no commitment. So why should I believe that you will love me when you say you do? Because you keep on changing your mind." So see how she is trying to make it a personal manipulation, how she is hitting him where his weakness is. Lady Macbeth knows that Macbeth's weakness is his wife, and she is offering her own relationship with him as a scapegoat. "From this time, such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valour as thou art in desire?" So you want something and you want to do something else. "Wouldst thou have that which thou estimest the ornament of life?" You think the crown is the ornament of life. Royalty or being the king is the ultimate purpose of life. "And live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would." Like the poor cat in the adage. So you are like stuck between what you want and what you're capable of doing. Macbeth tries to dissuade his wife. "Prythee, peace, I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none." So he is a brave man. He has killed people before in battles, enemies of the state. But that is what he did as a man, as a heroic man. And to do anything more is to become inhuman, according to Macbeth, which is the right thing to say. But Lady Macbeth is a, you can say, master of words. She knows how to speak, really. And she says, "What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me?" Break this enterprise means discuss with me this plan. When you durst do it, then you were a man. Earlier when you said you wanted to kill the king, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. So being more man means being Superman, not being non-man. So she's playing with the words here. "Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and their fitness now does unmake you." Now, what time is she referring to here? She is saying that Macbeth had discussed with her about his desire to kill the king. And she says, "Nor time nor place did then adhere," means when you discussed this, at that time, we did not have any fitting opportunity to kill the king. That means she is referring to some discussion which had taken place in the past. How past? Like, we have seen them together on stage in the previous scene, but there Macbeth had not spoken a single word about murdering the king. They were speaking as if this plan was already there, right? In that letter, Macbeth did not write anything about killing the king. But Lady Macbeth said that she is doubtful if he would catch the nearest way. How did she know that there was a nearest way? Now, according to the rules of drama, there is a timeline in a drama, okay? A drama starts or a play starts at one point, ends at another point. Now, whatever happens between these 2 points must be there in front of us. Nothing goes, off stage, or nothing happens off stage which we are not told about. So, we can assume that following that particular rule, no conversation was there between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth after Lady Macbeth received the letter. Therefore, there must have been some conversation between them at some point in the past before the play begins. And Lady Macbeth is possibly referring to that conversation when it was not suitable for them to kill the king. Because since the play started, they are in a position to kill the king. So when she says that time and space was not suitable when you first broke this enterprise to me, she is referring to some point in time which is even before this play starts. And when you think about it, then you would understand that it is not the plan of Lady Macbeth at all. It is the plan of Macbeth and only Macbeth. Lady Macbeth was only acting upon what Macbeth truly wanted and discussed with her. So she is saying that at that time, nothing was appropriate, nothing was suitable, and now they have made themselves. So now everything is suitable for carrying out our plan, execute our plan, and that their fitness now, the fitness of time and place, does unmake you. So now you are no more suitable to carry out this purpose. I have given suck Maybe she had a child. Maybe that child died. She knows the feeling of feeding a baby at her breast. And know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out had I so sown as you have done to this. If she had promised to kill a child, she would kill a child even when that child was breastfeeding on her body. She is so committed to her words. But Macbeth, who had sworn to kill the king, is now having a cold feet. Did we ever see Macbeth make such a promise? No. So she's definitely talking about a time even before this play started. Macbeth is now showing his true self. If we should fail, this means his palpitation or his confusion is not probably more because of his conscience. It's more because of his logical thinking that they might be in trouble if somebody finds out. If we should fail, we fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place and we'll not fail. When Duncan is asleep, where to the rather shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him? So Duncan, when he's tired for his day's journey and everything, he's going to fall asleep. His two chamberlains, the guards, I will, with wine and wassail means drugs, so convince, which means she is going to administer some drugged wine to them, to the guards, that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume. So the memory will not function for these guards. They will be out of their senses. And the receipt of reason, a limbic only. So she will confuse the guards, will take away their alertness. When in swinish sleep, their drenched natures lie. Drenched means wet. Now because these guards would be drunk, she's calling them drenched, and they would be sleeping as in a death. What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers? Have you seen sponges? They absorb any kind of liquid in which they are put. Similarly, when the guards would drink the drugged wine, they will also soak up that drink just as sponges. So they are referred to as spongy officers. And since they would be so very drunk, it would be very easy for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth to pass the blame on these guards that they had killed the king in their drunken state. Who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? So these officers, these guards, they could be implicated in the murder. Bring forth men, children only. Look at the reaction of Macbeth. I mean, I don't understand. This Macbeth guy, he is such a weak person. And his wife is such a strong woman. But he still is patriarchal enough to feel that it is the quality of a man to be a strong person. Strange, because he is also a man-child, right? He is a male child. But he has shown no strength. But he uses a very sexist comment here in way of praising his wife. Bring forth men children only. Why? Because she is so strong that if she ever gives birth, she can only give birth to a son. because men are strong, women are weak creatures. For thy undaunted mettle should compose nothing but males. Your undaunted mettle means your fearless spirit that can create only men. And then he asks again, will it not be received when we have marked with blood these sleepy two of his own chamber? He was unwilling to kill the king in the beginning of the scene, and now he is planning to make things more convincing. And he is talking about gory details of actually painting the faces of the sleeping guards with Duncan's blood so that people feel that they have killed the king. So it's a very peculiar kind of mentality that we see in Macbeth, that he switches so quickly. And when somebody switches so quickly, then we have to understand that it is his desire to actually switch. And it is not just Lady Macbeth's capability. Macbeth himself wanted to do this. And he says, and use their very daggers that they have done it. Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death. And Lady Macbeth says, how can anybody think anything else? Because we're going to be so expressive about our grief. We will mourn the king's death so loudly that nobody will be able to be suspicious of us. I'm settled. So he was confused before, and now he's settled. And bend up each corporal agent, each agent of the body. His hands, his legs, his heart, his mind, his soul, all corporal agents which he is composed of, to this terrible feat. Away and mock the time with fairish show, false face must hide what the false heart doth know. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He is echoing his wife's words. I want you to look at the last two lines again. What is so special about these two lines? What makes them different from the other lines of this scene? If you look at these two lines, you'll realize that these two lines are rhymed. Cho, no. These two words rhyme with each other. Who else speak in rhymes in this play? Thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up nine. Remember? The world of rhyme is the world of beyond nature. Beyond nature can be divine, but here, beyond nature is definitely evil. Macbeth speaks in rhymes, and at that point, he is connected to these dark sisters, to their evil design. And it is because of this compatibility that perhaps he was actually chosen by the weird sisters. Macbeth and Banquo, they were two people. Why was this prophecy made for Macbeth only? Why did Banquo receive a completely different set of prophecy? Shakespeare will give you hints through his language. He will never tell you directly. He will never tell you that Macbeth contained within him these seeds of ambition, these seeds of evil desire. And these seeds are now emerging, germinating into these rhymes, which echo the rhyming words of the witches. He is again using the word fair here, fairest show. And he knows that fair must go hand in hand with foul. Foul here is the false heart he's talking about. So what this scene gives us is not just a doubtful Macbeth. It gives us a dark and evil mind hidden carefully behind the apparent innocence of Macbeth's face. So, ironically, we find out that Macbeth is probably far better at hiding what is truly deeply ingrained in him. Because even his wife thinks his face will reveal things. But we see that he himself doesn't know what lies deep in his heart. Shakespeare shows us through his remarkable use of images, through his remarkable use of verse. And we will continue to notice this throughout this play. This brings us to the end of this wonderful act, the exposition of the play. Exposition gives us the main characters, tells us about their basic traits, reveals to us the relationship between the main characters of a play. And exposition also gives us a sort of backdrop against which the action will start to escalate from the next act. So as we will start looking at the second act of the play in our next class, we know about what to expect from people who are involved in this drama. I will be back very soon with the next scene, the first scene of the second act. Till then, stay subscribed, and there's a cyclone coming up, so stay very safe. Have a great time, all of you. This is Monami Mukherjee. You were watching Nibblepop.